Good morning. What's up, folks? JT here with another Chart Talk Live. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. My apologies. I appreciate y'all being patient and hanging in there for me. Yeah, just hectic morning this morning for some reason. All right, let's get that screen sharing started for our folks there. What's up, Navy Plum? What's up, New Trader? What's up, Gorath? Good to see y'all here. Let me get a quick copy link. There we go. Get a quick notice out to everybody, let them know that we're live. So, like I said, a little bit of a scramble this morning, but we're here and we're off and running nonetheless. All right, get over to the chat, say good morning to folks. Yeah, good morning, everybody. All right, so let me get my charts queued up here. Had everything kind of all jumbled up after doing some mentoring last night. Yeah, whoops. All right, let's get our trade plan recaps up here real fast. Now we're going to need at least 4 or 5 of these. Actually, you know what? No, we don't. I'll just do them all through one chart. All right, cool. So, what are we seeing here in the markets? How are things looking? We did get a pullback down to one of our key targets after breaking this uptrend. Pulled down, gave a little bit of a test there at the 200 333 combo here on the hourly. Shortly after that, that gave way, broke down, gave us a perfect test and reaction though off the NTS hourly bullish flag right down there at the bottom. Again, buying pressure ramping up until this is kind of the ultimate make or break. Bulls, you going to hold this, or bears, are you going to continue to take it down lower? The bulls stepped in and did what they needed to do and have bounced the market from there off of pretty close to that 69.1975 level. So we're pushing higher here, crossing back over the EMAs. Things are looking for a strong recovery, it looks like today. We obviously do have this trend line overhead a little bit. Could have some issues there on some potential back tests, but that remains to be seen. I would say the other thing that it also looks like we might have forming here. Yeah, and I know it might look a little bit hard to see there. It's not a pretty trend line, but there could be a trend line developing here that's going to push us up into that, create a little bit of a pinch point, and we'll see what happens with it from there. But overall, ES looks like it's trying to make some moves here to the upside, so keep that one on watch, and we will, and really I'd say what I'd be looking for to break is a good confirmed break of 70.2650. That looks to be like our key resistance. I know we've got to print a little bit higher for all-time highs, but as far as kind of like an all-time high resistance where we're seeing the highest number of reactions and rejections, it's still a little bit lower at that 70.2650. That's an old Fibonacci extension from some prior all-time high. I'm not going to know that off the top of my head, but yeah, overall, things looking like they want to continue to push to the upside here this morning. So let's keep it rolling. Let's get to some of these trade plan recaps, and then we'll get to some of these new ticker requests. Let me make sure I do have visibility to the YouTube chat. Get that over here. There we go. It's easy for me to see. All right, so let's get to those trade plan recaps that I've mentioned 100 times now. Netflix testing the put entry level here. A little bit zoomed out. Let's zoom in. This is going to be faster. So came down, chopped around our put entry, but never really gave anything, at least on these higher time frames, that I would say looks like a really convincing break of that support. Certainly some little dips slightly below. It is trying to bounce here this morning, but running into this bearish momentum. So we could pretty soon see it give way, that 88.15, and open up more downside, but let's wait for confirmation. Make sure that you are checking through a few different time frames to determine whether or not you think we have confirmation of that level giving way before we start playing for those downside targets. But so far, Netflix has been kind of just pinned right within our range. Did give us a run up right to the call entry. That rejected, took us all the way down to the put entry. So levels playing out pretty well for the most part. I think just some indecision on the side of buyers or Netflix bulls on how soon or how well they were going to step in around that 88.15 level. That happens sometimes. So always wait for solid confirmation. All right, let's get over to our next trade plan that we did. This is from this past Tuesday's live stream, I should say. CoreWeave looks like it's finally getting the breakout here. Pre-market call entry 91.49. We've tested that a few times going into today. Today, pre-market, it looks like a nice convincing break there. It's a little bit extended over that call entry, so I might suggest waiting to see if we get some kind of a pullback and a back test to that level before taking an entry. The one thing that we just have to be a little bit mindful or cognizant of is how much of this move that we've got planned in here between the call entry and PT1, how much of that's already been eaten up by the time we get into the trading day. And if it eats too much, well, then we have a couple of options. So let's talk through that and how to handle those. If you do wind up taking some sort of an extended call entry, when I say extended, the price is already extended a good ways over the call entry level. If you wind up in a trade like that, I don't think you really can't use the stop loss average down anymore at that point, because that's going to skew the risk reward on that trade. So if you are looking at something like that, use the call entry as your stop loss, so at least you're respecting good risk reward balance and principles there. So just some things to think about on CoreWeave, but it does look like it's got a good break working for it here this morning. Looks like it wants to push up toward that 114 mark. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. Root, we did this one on Tuesday as well. This one was a new one for me. It broke down, gave us a back test of the put entry. It's rejected from there. Hasn't quite made it to PT1 yet, but looks like it's well on its way. Again, just be a little bit careful with this one. It does trade on pretty low volume, and that can make moves a little bit hard to play out, and it can take a lot of time for them to play out. So just be mindful and conscientious of that if you are interested or currently in any trades on Root. All right, let's get to last Thursday's live stream. Tilray give us a break and test of PT1. It's rejected. Then it started rejecting the call entry yesterday. It looks like it's trying to climb back above and flip it to support. It's got a little bit of selling pressure left that was not there when we planned this out. So keep that in mind. But overall, Tilray looking like it might want to take another shot at call PT1. So keep your heads on a swivel. You've got the plan. It's in the Elite Xtrades chat. Oh my goodness, I got the yawns this morning. It's in the Elite Xtrades chat if you ever need to refer back to it. And of course, the bot will continue to post. Actually, it's stopped posting updates or alerts on this as of close of market close yesterday. So yeah, keep an eye on this or mark these levels down on your own chart. Use the trade plan navigator indicator if you have it. I do offer access to that for free to anybody who is a paying member who wants it. So you can plug in my levels. You'll have this little indicator here on your chart that shows you the levels once you've entered them in. And then you can set your own alerts, continue to monitor the trade on your own if you want to keep an eye on it longer than what we have those alerts set for. Oops, that was the wrong one. ASST, we did this as a breakout upside only trade plan. Still no breakouts on this one. Came right up to our call entry level, rejected, took it down to the 333 from where it has bounced and trying to push back up to the upside. But this one is kind of a stagnant sideways I personally don't like it and wouldn't trade it, but that doesn't mean it's not suitable for somebody else who might be interested in it. But ASST, still waiting on something to happen on this one from last Thursday. And then we also did silver. Everybody knows silver's just been absolutely ripping. It's finally starting to see a pretty decent pullback here, but our plan was to buy the dip somewhere close to 66.48 based on that pre-market move. It never really got there, so you kind of had to trust your gut and say, okay, well, we're still above the call entry. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. If you did that, all price targets met and a whole lot more. So good work if you didn't wait for that full test and decided to say, you know what, it's worth it here. But again, in that scenario, I would probably also look to adjust my stop loss average down to the call entry there at 66.48. But silver's been looking strong. I think it's well overdue for a pullback that we're seeing right now. So metals moving down, which is a good thing. I think that allows equities and the dollar and other things to continue to move back to the upside. All right, so that's our trade plan recaps. Let's get to some new trade plans. HIMS, this one just burned me. I was a little bit frustrated by it, but it's okay. It happens to the best of us. Let's take a look at it. Let's see if we can't figure out as a team what I couldn't figure out on my with this one. All right, let's see. Levels. All right. So where's that key support on HIMS is the question. And not going to get a lot of answers from that move, that's for sure. There we go. Now I'm starting to see what I wanted to see. Yeah. Sure, we'll try to take a look at one or two of those. Daily Bull, thanks for joining, and thanks everybody for being here this morning. I do appreciate it. I enjoy having a nice group for us to work on these things with. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chats as well. I will try to field those questions as I work on these ticker requests that we're getting. Yeah, that 333 is goated, isn't it? No cap, as the kids would say. All right, so 3105, even though we saw a little bit of a fake out below that, does look like a pretty good put entry level. We are going to have to go time again, though. Let's see, where does that potentially take us to? HIMS is definitely a somewhat choppy, volatile name that certainly didn't realize that was the case. You need a good stop loss average down on this. I think that's sitting yeah, right about here. 3177. All right, so where do we go below PT1 is the next question. Let's see, oops, I didn't want to do that. Below PT1, I think we've got a move coming down pretty close to this 29.29 level. Then below that, 28, 26. All right, so then let's figure out what our call entry should be. I'm a little bit hesitant to try to catch it off what I used as a call entry previously there at 32.16, because that just wound up being a theta burner, really. Yeah, it's a little bit higher, actually, right about there. Yeah, that's what I'd use. It's call entry. Should or could take us up here to 33.53 as a first price target. Use this 32.16 as a stop loss average down. Second price target takes us up to 34.38. Third target's going to be right here. At 35.30. All right, looks like a solid plan to me. Let's get it locked in. So 32.76, 30, 30, 16, 3, 29, 6, 31.77. Not a shared stop loss average down on that, so we'll leave that alone. Let's get those into our group. I don't think this trend is really valid anymore or useful anymore. That's demand zone down below. All right, cool. Let's lock it in. Let's go. Right, here comes your HIMS live stream plan. And for the chats. And let me get this over in the elite chat. Published. Let's get our alert set up. Cool. Let's save our template. Thursday, number 1. All right, let's mark our start line. And last but not least, alerts. Perfect. All right, so just to recap this real quick, what are we looking for here on HIMS? We are looking for a break above 32.76. That should bring price targets at 33.53, 34.38, and 35.30 with the stop loss average down at 32.16. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 31.05. That should bring targets at 30.23, 29.29, and 28.26. With a stop loss average down at 31.77 for that downside trade plan. Those are your HIMS live stream plans. Let's go. Let's get it. All right. What do we got next here on the list? HIMS, and Fig. Fig. It's like Figma or something like that. I don't think I've charted Fig. They IPO'd recently, right? Like last year-ish. Oh, apparently I've charted it before. That's helpful. trend line was. It needs me a little bit of organizing, so let's get that out. Oh, it looks like we did some, yeah, we did some fib extensions to the downside on this one. That's a little bit new. Or something we don't usually have to do, but trend-based fib extensions to the downside that I'm sure we did, I guess probably around here, playing out with a lot of accuracy, right? Nice rejection, broke down, got below, rejected. So good work on the Fibonacci extensions, but we are probably going to need to do another set of those. And let's see what kind of real support and resistance we can find here. I just want to see price action for a minute while I figure this part out. There. All right. This might be a little bit tricky because generally speaking, before you do a set of trend-based fib extensions, once you've set that new low, you at least want to see a back test of the trend before you put those extensions in place, but we are seeing some signs of a bounce. So let's see what this gives us. Should take us up to right, probably about there. Yep, that looks good. Should put us right about there. Midway point between those levels. Okay, so if we this here, what does that do for us? Is there any help on that 3277 level? Yeah, pretty close. Just a little bit higher. 3250, or sorry, 3283. 3250 is the current price. All right, I'm going to go with that being just a little bit higher, give it a little bit more room to play out. Yeah, close enough. All right, so if we're using that as our entry, there's our stop loss, there's our PT1, PT2, and PT3, really all that we have to work with in this particular situation. Given that FIG is at all-time lows and looks like it's going to try for some new all-time lows with this big bear flag hanging out down here just above that current all-time low. Yeah, that's kind of the level I was thinking about anyway for upside. There is a big fair value gap to fill here. I don't see a lot of other. I don't see a whole lot else standing in the way of that happening. Yeah, especially after that massive sell-off, there's a big imbalance there that might fill back to the upside. So let's take a shot at it, running all the way to 35.73 for call PT1. PT2, I think we do need to add a level right about here. And PT3, we'll leave it right there at 37.76. So, kind of an upside opportunity, but a pretty bearish chart here. And that's not really a confirmed trend. Well, we could keep it on watch, but it's not a confirmed trend yet. So, let me get this plugged in. 9 takes us to 33, 36.58, and 37. Whoops. 76 with a stop loss average at 33.08. Put in trade 32.07, 31.24, 30.56, 29.90. Stop loss average at 32.79. All right. Give me one sec, folks. Hang on. I got my mom calling me. She just had surgery, so let me see if there's something going on here. All right, I've got a few more minutes. She's okay for now. So let's get to the rest of this. At least finish this trade plan. Yeah, no. Looks like I already had that plugged in. I've just got it hidden. So cancel. I'd already locked that all in. Oh, got my indicators turned off. Duh. Duh, JT. Get it right. Right. Cool. That looks good. All right. So let's. All right. That looks good, but we also. I'll combine those later. All right. Cool. And let's hide this as well. Or this one. There we go. All right, so here comes our FIG live stream plan, and I might have to cut this morning a little bit short so I can get my mom squared away. She just had wrist surgery, and she's like the one-armed bandit. She needs help though. So I gotta go over to her place and give her a hand. So all right, that all looks good. All right, cool. Let's lock this in. Let's go. Copy link. Here comes your FIG live. Whoops. FIG live stream plan. That's what she reminds me of. She's got one functional, I told her pickleball is an old people's sport, but she's too old to play pickleball. And that's how she fell down and broke her wrist. So it is what it is, right? All right. Go. Copy that message link. Get that in there. Save our template before I forget. And then, oh yeah, alerts. Duh. What are you doing, JT? Pilot, any alert? 1 hour expiring next Wednesday. Close of business. All right, so let's talk through this one more time. What are we looking for here on FIG? We're looking for a break above 33.99. That should give us price targets at 35.73, 36.58, and 37.76 with the stop loss average down at 33.08. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 32.07. That should bring price targets at 31.24, 30.56, and 29.90 with the stop loss average down at 32.79. Those are your FIG upside and downside trade plans. All right, folks, I need to, sorry I wasn't able to get to at least one more Daily Bull AMD Apple. I'll give you my opinion on which one I like better real quick. So far, AMD looks great. Yeah, Apple looks like it's in a lot of chop until it can get a good confirmed break back over 262.19. Could open up room to the upside, potentially to 267.05. So that's just a quick take on Apple. And AMD looking strong. This is another one that I need to go back and after it broke out and made a whole bunch of new all-time highs. I have yet to go back and add anything to my charts to accommodate for that because I just haven't traded AMD recently. But I'd say, yeah, at the very least, if it wants to continue higher, it needs to get over this 233.88 level. So quick take on those, best I can do at this point. What's up, Thug Baby Yoda? Good to see you. All right, I want to go get this spy plan knocked out and sent out to the group so I can then go take care of the rest of what I need to take care of. So I appreciate y'all showing up. Apologies for being a little bit late and cutting things a little bit short, but we will be back. It's going excellent, my friend. I hope yours is going well. We will be back next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I hope you'll remember to come back then. Join us here in Discord or on the Xtrades YouTube channel. So, as we always say here on Chart Talk Live, make sure that you plan your trades and trade your plans. Also, don't forget we're looking for profits, not perfection, so keep those wins big, keep those losses small. Go out there, get that money, have a fantastic day. I will see you all in the chats here shortly. Spy plan coming at you in just a moment. You all have a fantastic day. Take care. Talk to you soon.